Hello and welcome to my video Truth and Intelligence and Reality. I've made a little sort of visual representation which I'll explain. So from left to right you have sort of fantasy leading to reality. Now you could also sort of use this to contrast intelligence as well. However, the reason why I've specifically wrote ruthless pragmatist is many realists and ruthless pragmatists, you don't need to be that smart to be a ruthless pragmatist. Just need to sort of accept the facts of the situation, the reality of the situation, and then act accordingly. And despite my sort of best efforts, unfortunately, I don't think I'll ever be a truly ruthless pragmatist. And it's not that I necessarily disagree with them, but for me it's always been sort of three perspectives. You can be a pessimist, an optimist, or a realist. And sort of most of my life I've been an optimist. However, after spending a great deal of time with the ruthless pragmatists, yeah, they'll slap some of your optimism out of you and replace it with realism. You also notice I've done I don't know, a blue line, and the blue line represents the women's. See, the thing with women is very interesting, is they can be ruthless pragmatists, but then it's not consistent at all. They'll literally jump backwards and forward between fantasy and reality. Because it's a bit like sort of banter with men. Always reminds me of this. And I always think, why are men giving you harsh banter? Like, if you make the tiniest mistake at work, all the men let you know about it and keep reminding you and winding you up about it. And then what are they effectively doing? They're reiterating reality. Because the thing is, you need sort of, I don't know, little attacks of reality slapping you around the face when you make a mistake. So, if there was something sort of more tragic that happened, you've already built the character up over years. Because if you take the opposite position of everyone, the emperor has no clothes and everything's awesome. When something does go bad, you're gonna just get destroyed. You're gonna be absolutely devastated. I'm not sure if I've told this story again, but I'll quickly tell it. So I used to work as a salesman, and I remember once I knocked on a door, and there was this woman, and I did my little sales pitch, and I realised the woman, she wasn't all there. She wasn't fully competent. She didn't have her critical faculties. So I made some excuses and went away. And then my boss was like, "Oh, why did you walk away?" I was like, "Oh," and just made some sort of excuse. When we was on the journey back, it turns out he sent another guy around there who sold the products or whatever. And he's just like, "Oh, you should sell it." And another thing is one of the sales guys would literally sell to absolutely everyone. And his rationale was twofold. It was, if you don't sell it, someone else is going to knock on that door at one point in time and sell it instead of you. So you've just effectively lost money. You could have had money, but you decided not to take the money. And sort of the reason why he was sort of getting all the money is to support his family. So it doesn't make any sense to him that he's going out knocking on doors and making sales. He should be absolutely maximising his time And this is where, for me, I draw the line with this ruthless pragmatism, because he would, I wouldn't say he was unethical, but he would sort of a step way across the line. And I'll be honest, sometimes it could be a bit intimidating. So he'd literally use any method he could to make the sale. Like he was telling me one day, he was playing the husband against the wife because the wife wasn't interested in it. And he was like, "Oh, so you're going to let your wife tell you what to do, are you?" And he managed to get them at it and then bring them both round, because obviously the man was like, "No, I'm the one in charge." And sometimes he'd played the opposite game. Said to the woman, saying, "Oh, is he making decisions for you? Does he set your bedtime?" But the thing is, the fact that he would even sort of do these tricks and play these games to make all the sales, because I suppose for him, at the end of the day, he provided for his family, the company he worked for, he made sales, he stopped other people making the sales off these people. And then I suppose more of a tangent, it got me thinking about mumble rappers and all these shitty celebrities. So mumble rappers have no musical talent, they all sound the same, they make loads of money. So imagine if today or tomorrow someone was to become a mumble rapper, they could just copy all the rest, so that would be easy. They do it for 10 years, they're making sort of more money than the average person would and will ever make. And then I sort of joke and think about my sort of moral principles sort of necessarily holding me back to becoming a mumble rapper and getting retardedly rich with absolute minimal effort. Like, I'm sure I can dress up and act like a retard and say Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang. I'm sure being an English mumble rapper will give me some unique status. And mumble rap is just an example, but the point I'm trying to make is having moral sort of principles or moral values or value judgment, and then we can see models of success that really do work, and they're viable, and you don't need any skills, you don't need any talent. You can easily become one of these mumble rappers or loser celebrities or whatever. And ultimately, you can be rich. And imagine, like, you become a mumble retard for 10 years, and then be like, "Oh, I'm retiring." You can have so much more money than the average person. Also, what I wanted to say about female intelligence, which is quite interesting. So let's say on paper you've been conversing with a woman at work, and then you think on paper that she's smarter than you, because one of the perceptions of female intelligence is women are really great at remembering dates, people, and faces, and men, give us some facts and figures, we'll remember those instead. However, you give them a little bit of pressure, and then all this intelligence and sort of problem solving and all these things that you thought they had just go flying out of the window. And they wonder why more women don't become head of companies. It's like, have you ever given a woman a high pressure job? So literally crying. When have you ever heard of a male CEO crying from the stress? Okay, final little story. I was having an argument with my friend, which was a great argument. In London, there's currently an epidemic of knife crime. The police have been told not to randomly search the citizens, because obviously we've got the presumption of innocence. However, because of this, more people are getting stabbed. This is a fact. So I explained to my friend in great detail, like, look, every single decision has consequences. Now, I'd like to live in a world where the police don't need to randomly search people for knives. However, if the police randomly search people for knives, the amount of people who get killed is less. I would like less people to die from knives. Therefore, the police are going to have to do stop and search. But my friend was still arguing, and he was saying that you just need to make the sentences higher for carrying a knife and make it a bigger offence. And I said to him that he doesn't know much about punishment. Capital punishment, for example, which is still practiced in some states of America, capital punishment is not a deterrent. Because if someone wants to kill someone, then they automatically are sort of prepared to die. The thing is, the same with the stabbing. The seriousness of stabbing someone means necessarily that you're prepared to have some serious sort of consequences against you. No one thinks, oh, how am I going to murder someone? Or if I stab them, I'll get the lesser sentence. That you might think that to a certain extent, but that isn't what happens when you go around stabbing people to death. But just to repeat, capital punishment isn't a valid deterrent. Again, if you can look at any crime statistics, when the UK had capital punishment and when it didn't, as far as I know, it didn't really make a massive effect on the murder rate, and crime rates have slowly been going down over history. I will leave it at that. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.